Okay, so the discussion of the clean waters model began with some ideas about environmental care whose concept is socially poorly designed, especially within the marketing and commercial approach worldwide, together with the fails of the fake advertising and erroneous marketing that some companies promote. They spoke of the industry and its responsibility in all this, and also in the conflict factor that this generates in the development of clean ecosystem for life in general. They talked about the connection that the production of waste has from the high areas to the inland to the deep zones of the sea, which is what this process generates and how this connection at tangible and molecular level are altering the planet, feeling much stronger in ocean communities by the generate of garbage and the loss of clean waters. They also spoke about the need to regulation laws that help mitigate the impacts of activities that affect ecosystem health. The need to generate association and that this association in turn not only several to protect their inverse them but also take conscientious action about the situation. There was talking of minimizing impacts, raising awareness, and thirdly, try to reduce the levels of waste in the sea, which in turn, in the long term, generates a high percent of microplastic in the ocean that secretly affect our health. And due to that, we consume seafood, and this pollution alters these products. Therefore, us, in addition to the need to generate efforts and avoid by these actions the proliferation of diseases, virus, bacteria, and climatic events that affect us all. In relation to interconnectivity between water sources and chemical pollution produced by medicine, the professor refers to the problem that exists around the world with the problems of sewerage. The problem is in relation how wastewater is treated and the problem is its treatment to eliminate harmful or toxic substance for the environmental, which we consider a little a bit, but appeal for 50 million people is no longer the same because this active product and its chemical components are still present in large quantities in nature, and many times these channels through which they are transported intersect with the sources of water for consumption, or much worse in the ocean, and where everything as it's cyclical and returns toward us. I believe that the biggest legislative pros may be the presentation and socialization of different ideas and points of view around the same issues, but from different approaches, generating groups or associations that share ideas according to this production sector, and this being something that goes beyond of the specific meeting. In the other hand, I consider that the biggest legislative cons maybe that as a in that's in politics there may be politics or idealist movements that seek the different trajectory of the issues according to different interesting or worse is still guided by different positions that are deeply rooted and that don't lead the way conservation towards the best socialization between people. In other way, the bioaccumulation of pollutants is a gradual depositing process that occurs over a certain time due to the action of chemical substance or inorganic waste with the organism of a living being, either through an absorption process accelerate in relation to what their body can process or because said substance cannot be metabolized, and it drastically affects the food chain because, as for example in the case of microplastic, animals being to consume this substance of their diet for a long time, they die and create a hole in the food chain, unbalancing it. In addition, the contaminants are also present either because the animals died or because it was consumed by another animal, and this cyclically the bioaccumulation of contaminants continue. And this is important for everyone, whether we live in coastal areas or very far from them. because this pollution reach many of the resources we obtain and consume from the sea, for which we are all is in risk, regardless of where we are far or near. Finally, in general, the organisms that are usually used as bioindicators of ecosystem health and water quality are usually diatomeans and cyanobacteria, and some types of bacterial communities, planktonic organisms, some types of benthonic and sessile invertebrates, sea urchins, coral formations, coral reefs, formative fish behavior, and the presence of sea turtles, shark colonies of seabirds in large numbers, and larger mammals such as whales. Thank you.